What happened last night? I don't remember a damn thing.
I just woke up with a dead guy. What did I do? Why don't I remember any of this?
I am never drinking again. Hello and welcome. In Jane Fonda's autobiography, My Life So Far, she says, quote, "Playing drunk had always frightened me. If there was even a short scene in a movie where I had to be tipsy, I dreaded it. So as a challenge for herself, she took on the role of a washed-up alcoholic in the 1986 mystery thriller, The Morning After. And this risk almost got her her third Oscar."
And the winner is Marlee Matlin.
Almost. But she was nominated. The only problem is, nobody seems to remember this movie. So let's talk about it. Jane Fonda plays Vivica Van Loren, a former actress with a severe drinking problem who wakes up in the bed of a stranger who has been murdered. She has no memory of the night before, but due to her drinking, that's not uncommon. She makes a call to her friend Jackie, who is clearly her go-to guy when she's in a bind.
Listen, Jackie, I just woke up with a dead guy.
You got more serious problems than lousy lovers, believe me.
No. I mean dead, Jackie. Should I call the cops?
I think you better.
I'm scared. You know what I mean, Jackie. The cops.
Realizing she's in deep, she flees to the airport, but can't get a flight because it's Thanksgiving and everything is booked. Outside the airport, she is involved in a minor car accident.
Your tail lights don't work, lady.
Hey, are you insured?
Why don't you stay here while I go with the police?
Don't I know you from someplace? You look familiar to me.
While fleeing from the guys, she jumps into a car of a man named Turner, who happens to be a former cop.
This may take a little while.
That's okay.
Realizing she can't leave town, she decides to return to the scene of the crime and try to remove as much evidence as possible, making sure there is no trace of her left. Although she might not be alone.
Don't you wonder how I found you? Must have dropped out of your purse before. You had your friend's address on this matchbook.
Turner gives her a ride home, and being a former cop, she should probably keep her distance from him, but clearly good judgment isn't her strong point. They have a makeshift Thanksgiving dinner, which ends with Vivica passing out drunk. The next morning, Turner is gone, the body turns up in her shower, and someone has tipped off the cops.
What are you doing here?
Fix your air conditioner.
I want a drink. I want a drink.
Is Turner a man she can trust, or does he have an ulterior motive?
He knows I'm innocent.
So do I.
But no, not because he's my friend. He saw there wasn't a body in the shower, and then there was.
And then there was.
Over the past 50-odd years, Jane Fonda has had a phenomenal career, winning 2 Oscars and an Emmy. So I think it's great that this far into her career, she was still taking risks. And I'm really glad that she was at least nominated for this role. It's an entertaining whodunit, but Jane Fonda makes this movie. Even when you're not sure if she did it or not, Fonda adds a vulnerability to the character, and you kind of feel bad for her.
Listen. If I did that to you, I didn't mean it, I swear to God. I'm not a bad person. You call me a lush? Something crazy like that?
Not only is this a great fusion of plot-driven and character-driven storytelling, it's also a classic film noir, or since this film came out in the 1980s, a neo-noir. A film noir is a style of thriller that was made in the 1940s and 1950s, and any film of that style that came out after the 1950s is referred to as a neo-noir. And The Morning After has every quality of a great film noir. The cop and the femme fatale, as well as the noticeable use of shadows, low-key lighting, and shoulder pads. That doesn't mean this film is perfect. I have two problems with it. One is a bit of a nitpick, but regardless, I find it very distracting, and that is... Okay, for those of you not familiar with Jane Fonda's career, I need to explain something. At this point in her career, she was still very successful in acting, being nominated for 2 Academy Awards, one for this film and the other for On Golden Pond. She also won her first and only Emmy for The Doll Maker. That being said, Jane Fonda's acting wasn't what she was best known for in the 1980s. No, arguably what she was best known for at this time were her at-home workout videos.
Don't wake up your neighbors now. And March.
Seriously, for those of you who are too young to remember this was one of the biggest trends of the 1980s. I believe her first workout video was the #1 selling VHS of all time, and believe me when I say these videos were everywhere. If you were alive in the 1980s, you came into contact with one of these videos. Hell, you could literally have been in a coma and still not have missed this trend.
Morning, Gladys. We're doing our Jane Fonda.
So yeah, to say that Jane Fonda is in amazing shape is a bit of an understatement. And I just found it weird because in The Morning After, she plays a middle-aged woman who spent the better half of her life being a blackout drunk. Seriously, this is not the body of someone with that lifestyle. I know, like I said, it's a bit of a nitpick. The big problem I have with this movie is the fact that Jeff Bridges' character is a bit of a racist. The film is directed by Sidney Lumet, and a common theme in his films is dealing with, ham-fisted, flawed social institutions. So I think having an ex-small-town cop who's a casual racist was supposed to be some sort of poignant social commentary.
I did investigation work. I'm not a detective.
Was it in L.A.?
Bakersfield. 7 years.
That's where you studied bigotry.
How can I be a bigot? I mean, they're all full of ill will and malice. I just make observations.
There's also this scene where 2 cops are talking to Jackie, asking him about Vivica, when out of nowhere, this happens.
It's a great place for a stud. Well, you were Jackie.
How bad do you want to know?
One could argue that, hey, it's the 1980s. That sort of talk was considered normal back then. And there is truth to that, but I do believe that in this film, it's supposed to serve a purpose. I mean, why else would Jane Fonda not stand for any of it?
What are you, the Klan anthropologist? I'd ask you in, but it's too ethnic. The neighborhood.
That's where you studied bigotry.
The problem I have is the fact that The Morning After has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with homophobia. And it has nothing to do with the flaws of our police force. It's just a whodunit murder mystery. So if Sidney Lumet was going for social commentary here, I commend him for attempting to address these issues, but in this movie, all it did was hurt the flow of the story. I wish I could find an early draft of the script before Lumet signed on, just to see if the racist remarks are still there. I was so curious about this, I even tracked down the audio commentary Lumet made for the now out-of-print DVD release. Because I own this movie on Laserdisc. Unfortunately, he didn't mention anything about this, but I did learn something really interesting about the last day of production on this film. On the last day of shooting, Jane Fonda asked Sidney Lumet if she could really get drunk for one scene, and he agreed. So Jane Fonda is actually drunk in this scene.
Where's Greenberg live?
Green bomb.
Oh, they live together. Isn't that sweet?
Do me a favor.
Have I ever denied you anything?
Stay here. I'll be back.
So there you have it. The Morning After is a great film that's sadly underrated. If you like mysteries, if you like film noirs, you should definitely check this out. So what do you think? Have any of you seen this film? Until next time.